We're going to take a look here at some of the architectural tools within the Arch UK menu. Now, if you don't have the Arch UK menu loaded within Caddie, or in fact any other application, simply right click over the Caddie button, and then you can load application, and the applications that are available will come within the list. You can select it and then click on load, but since I have it loaded, I'm going to go back to the tools themselves. Now you can either access this as the whole menu, selecting the aspect of the menu you want, so in this case the plan tools. You can also set up shortcut commands which will take you through the various options as well, and if you look up one of the earlier tutorials you'll see how to customize your Caddie menu. We're starting here with wall setup. So here we have a dialog, and we can see within the dialog we have various settings we can control about the way we draw walls. For instance, we can draw a cavity wall or solid walls. We can choose the thicknesses. We can either type straight into the dialog or choose from the drop down list there, and we have the same for the outer leaf, cavity and inner leaf. Pen control. We can control the thicknesses of the lines within Caddie, and in this case we're using colour to determine the thickness, and we choose from our standard pen colours which pens we want for both the outer faces and the cavity lines. Origin, now this is how we control which line we draw and which lines are drawn for us. So outside would be drawing the outer face of the wall with the insides created. We could draw the centre of the wall and it'll be disposed either side of that centre line, or we could draw the inside as if we were drawing out the inside, the internal plan, and then the external walls will follow, but we're going to stick with outside here. Height, now the height will be something that will factor in when we start to use the elevation wizard, for instance, or we go into 3 dimensions. The tool itself will draw a 2-dimensional wall because that's what it's supposed to do, giving you, as we see here, the option for the hatching within the walls. Now we can use shading, we can use hatch patterns, be they simple lines or crosses or whatever we choose. Now these hatch patterns are chosen from the hatch pattern list, which you can set, modify, or choose from the default options already within the hatch styles, within the hatch set parameters in the hatch area of Caddie. Have control over the hatch for the outer leaf, the inner leaf. Then we move on to the solid walls. So here we have a width, same idea as with the cavity walls. We can cut into the existing walls, so as we've drawn our walls we can actually get it to take the little piece of wall where the 2 walls meet. We have control over our pen, and we have control over our line styles too, so we can do dashed lines, so if we're doing a wall that's been removed, for instance. We can again choose the origin and the height, and then we come on to layering. So we see we can layer both for the internal walls and the cavity walls there, with little flags for setting that. If we choose to remove the flag, then we'll go on to the active layer, or the walls will be drawn on the active layer, which is shown there. If we choose to automatically layer, we can choose any layer that's already created within our drawing, and the walls will automatically be forced onto that layer when we draw them. Down at the bottom of the dialog box we have use opaques, and we can do that for both. If we turn that off, then we won't, as you see here, it's greyed out now, we won't automatically have the hatching within the walls. We'll also create our doors and windows in a slightly different way, in that they won't be created as blocks with opaques behind them. They'll actually be created as patterns, groups of elements, which are actually cut into the walls. So using the opaques will leave the walls intact underneath and create our blocks which will sit on top, being the doors and windows. The final box on here, opaque extension. So the extension, so the amount that the opaque is larger than the created block itself, which will mean that when we view our blocks, we have the ability not to see anything underneath, even if the lines are coincident. And we can explore that if we just say OK here. We'll see that we can actually turn, in our drawing settings, we can turn the opaques to showing the boundary, or in this case not. So we don't show the boundary, we just have the masking effect, which means that we won't see the lines underneath. So how do we draw the walls? Well, in the case of the cavity walls, just using some construction lines that we've got set up here, choose to draw the cavity wall, and you notice you have the little flag which tells you how to operate the tool. Right click to select a snap mode, in this case auto snap, and then we can start drawing just snapping around the points. You see the little crosses there, and then if we wanted to finish the wall off, we could choose option N, so it would finish there, or if we want to close, we choose close, and there is the wall already hatched. And if we go back to our wall set, we see that we have different coloured pens. We have the outside wall that we've chosen to draw, and the inside ones will follow. We've got the different thicknesses there, and we've got the different hatch styles. And in a similar way, if we go for solid walls, again we can choose our snap mode, choose from there, go 90 degrees, option end to break in, and we see that it's broken in there. We'll cover more aspects of this in another tutorial, cover the doors and windows and so on.